Exporting a database to an SQL file in DBeaver is pretty simple, but only if you know what to look for. I'll show you how to find the menu commands and what settings to check to export a database to an SQL file. The first step is to open the window that lets you start this export process. But where is it and what is it called? If you've spent some time looking around DBeaver for some data export option like in other SQL editors, you've probably gotten a bit stuck and then found this video. Well, I'm about to show you what it's called and where to find it. I'll show you this process in both PostgreSQL and in MySQL. The process is similar in other database vendors. First, with Postgres. You can right-click on the database, select Tools, then Backup. Or you can click on the database menu, select Tools, then Backup. You can select this option either on a database or on a schema. This backup window is shown. If this is the first time opening this screen, you might see an error at the top about a native client not specified. If that's the case, then click on the Local Client button on the bottom. Select an entry from the drop-down list and click OK. The error message should disappear. On the left is a list of the steps we'll take. On the right is a list of the selections we'll make. Select one or more of the database schemas. The second panel on the window will show all of the tables in this schema, all of which are selected by default. You can click the None button here below the panel to deselect them all, and select individual tables if you want. You can check this Show Views checkbox to have any view objects shown in this list. Let's click Next. This screen will let you change all of the settings for the backup. There are a few things you may want to change here. First, the format. It's set to custom by default, which is a format that DBeaver can use to restore the database. I'll change this to plain, which will generate an SQL file. We can tell it's an SQL file because the file name pattern down here has an SQL extension. You can leave the compression blank if you like. For the encoding, choose a value. My value defaulted to UTF-8. Another important thing to change is this first checkbox here. Use SQL insert instead of copy for rows. Ensure this is checked. If it's not, then you'll see a copy command in the exported file for the data. You can include the drop database and create database statements with these checkboxes here if you need that for your export. In the output folder pattern, select the location where you want to export the file to. I'll just choose the Downloads folder on my computer. Now we can click Start. The export process will begin. It can take a few seconds for a small database and even longer for larger databases. I can go to the Downloads folder and see the file that was just created, which is this one here. Our database has now been exported to an SQL file. Let's try it on a MySQL database to see some of the differences. I'll connect to a MySQL database first. Then I can expand the Databases folder and find the database I want to export. If you want to export multiple databases, you'll have that option soon. Right-click on the database you want to export, then select Tools, then Dump. In MySQL it's called Dump, and in Postgres it's called Backup. You'll see a similar window here. Now on this screen you can select one or more databases to include in the export. The one I right-clicked on is selected by default, as well as all the tables in the database, but I can add and remove databases and tables. I can also choose to show views in this list. Let's click Next. We can now see the settings screen. The default selections should be okay. You'll get an SQL file if you just click Start. You may want to change some of the checkboxes here if you want to just export the structure and not the data, or turn off extended inserts. But I'll just leave the defaults and click Start. The database will be exported. I can go to the location where I exported the file and see it has been created here. This file with Airbnb in the name was the file for the database we just exported. One reason to export database tables is to use them with version control. DBeaver has a pretty good integration with Git for version control, so you'll want to watch this video next, where I explain what this is, how to set it up, and how to use some of the common features to version control your code. Thanks for watching.